Question: if, following along the same part of that previous question, they are independent of me and have their own existence, what is their purpose? Datre: their purpose is to be. You don't understand that there are things that are. Everything has a purpose, but it does not have to have a purpose. It can just be. This is what it is, this is how it works, and that's all there is to it. It doesn't have to have a purpose, because it just is. What's the purpose of a rock? A single rock. What is the purpose of a single rock? Same thing. A rock is. A thought is. We call them thoughters, because there is nothing else in your bubble to explain what that is. That's why you can't understand the universe. There is nothing in your vocabularies, in any of your languages, the ones that I speak through Aona, or the ones in other countries, you don't have words for explanations. In the universe everything is experience. But because of your mentality, you have to put a word on everything. And do you realize how many times you put up huge stumbling blocks, because you don't accept something for what it is? You have to put a label on everything. Why can't things just exist, and you just enjoy their existence? But you have to put a name on it, then, by putting a name on it, you immediately have set up connotations of good and bad. It is that simple. From our standpoint, it is very simple. Question: who or what creates thoughts? Datre: we have used this expression before and we will use it again. They're not born, they are birthed. That is as close as we can come to any explanation. They are birthed. Then, once something is birthed, it is, to use your terms, forever. Question: are they carriers of ideas that require me to do or create something with? Datre: no, definitely not. You're not required to do anything with them. You're not required to pick them up. You're not required to do anything with them. If they attach themselves to a think patterning you have and you don't want them, just let them go. Very simple. You can open up the little seed, and if there's nothing inside that little seed that you want to unroll, unravel, or look at, or anything, if there isn't anything in there, then you just let it go. There are many more times a day than you could ever count that a thought will connect to a think patterning during your daytime hours. But what would John do if, sitting at a computer working away, and a thoughter comes in and there's something within the patterning that they connect with? I don't know what makes the connection, but they connect with your think patterning and this thoughter goes through. John takes a look at it and says, now where in the world did that come from? I certainly am not right now interested in a unique way of baking bread. He has no use for it, so he lets it go. This happens many times a day, but you don't pay any attention to those subtleties. They occur all the time. You'll turn around and say, I wonder where that thought came from? You see, automatically, you have used the right word, because it's something that is, what you say, out of the blue, and has no connection with what you're doing or anything else. But a thoughter went by and connected up with you, and you didn't want it and let it go. So it goes on its merry way. Question: who or what creates ideas? Are they alive as Datre and we are? Datre: ideas are thinks. And the majority of your planet gets your thinks from mass consciousness. There are not that many on your planet that use thoughters, surprisingly enough. That is why most of you are so bored, because you do not allow thoughters in. You're so busy scrambling your head with mass consciousness thinks, that if a thoughter came through, you wouldn't even recognize it. Then, until you recognize your first thoughter, and recognize how uniquely different it is, you'll never know the difference. It is like everything else that we have said to you. Until it happens to you as an individual, you can't explain it to anyone else. Question: when enough experiences and skills are obtained, it's time to move on to more thoughts, which don't have any physical or earthly points of reference. Any comments? Datre: well, there again, you're trying to make a study of these things instead of allowing things to happen. It's not something you can write in a book and work by a magic formula. Because evolution is not a magic formula. There is no one out there writing a formula for you to evolve to. There's no such thing. You see, in your scientific community, they're coming up now with some grand and wonderful things. And the thing is, when they start letting all this think stuff go, they can connect with thoughters. But you see, your thinks have been used and used and used and used for centuries. So the only way they can come up with anything new is to let all the thinks go and open up to thoughters. Sort of like the science of non-doing. If that's what they want to call it, and that's where it's at. That's why they say, well, how come the man that took care of the polio, a little man sitting all by himself? Pretty much from what I understand, those are the people that come up with the cures. Those are the people that come up with the ideas. It's not those sitting in laboratories with multiple people. That's very hard to do, unless the person is what a lot of people refer to as a loner. I've heard that expression used many times, he's a loner. The loner is the one that gets the thoughter. It's not those that sit in the Massachusetts. All they're going to do is get the mass consciousness thinks. There is no other way, because the room is so full of mass consciousness thinks that there's no place for a thoughter to come in. There is no space for a thoughter. It's the loner, the one that gets away by themselves, that opens up to the thoughters. It's in getting away from all the mass consciousness that you are even able to connect with a thoughter. Question: it seems illogical to me that all that is would construct a reality where no individual graduated, and so forth, to the next level until some very rare energy alignment showed up. Datre: well, let's do a little dissertation on that. Now, at one point in time the only reference you had to something greater than what you are was the reference to God. Now as the awareness grew, the individuals that were seeking and searching for greater amounts of universal knowledge, shall we say, began to think that the term God was basically referred to as a he. Now, that put a strange connotation on it, because it was, from the standpoint of the seeker and searcher, he was only a grander manifestation of man. Well, that didn't quite fit into their thought patterning. So, becoming aware of the change in the thought patterning of individuals, something else had to be introduced so that you could use something that was greater than the God principle. In order to encompass something greater, the term, all that is, was used. Now, that is a very good analogy, because in the universe, be it the big universe or your little bubble universe, all that is put into a universe, shall we say, and added to, until you have enough for your experiences, in whichever direction you want to go. There is, within your little bubble universe, everything that you can possibly conceive of to take you in any direction you wish to go, physically or mentally. Those are the only two capacities that you have. You have your physical capacity and you have your mental capacity, and it comes in one package which is called physicality. Now, there is so much more in this little bubble that has never been explored by anyone in physicality. And when you leave here, these many areas will still never have been explored. Now, all that is contained within this little bubble universe of yours, for your planet, for your learning, for your exploration. But all that is not an individual. In other words, if you're going to have a God that man has fashioned in the image of man, shall we say, God is just a greater form of man that has more consciousness than man does. We get away from that and get into all that 56 is. But all that is energy. Energy is not an individual. You have consciousness. You have all of these different things within a physical construct that you can use for expression from all that is. From our standpoint, the easiest way to explain all that is to just say energy. Because energy from our standpoint contains a great deal more than what you think of as energy. When you think of energy, you think of electricity, you think of gasoline, you think of explosions. You think of the energy within the physical construct that runs it, and so forth. But all of these things are only a result of energy usage. In other words, gasoline is gasoline. But you put it into an automobile or an airplane or a ship or any of those sort of things. I'm picking just big things, you put it in those, and you can propel things. When gasoline is energized, it becomes a force that can move things. But it's all done through physicality. In other words, if nothing happens to the gasoline, it just sits there. Okay. The same thing with the energy that you use to propel the physical being. It's there, and you can use it any way you want to. You can use it with your physical body to be able to propel a body to climb a mountain. You can use energy when you get sick to make you well. You can do anything with energy you want to do. It does many things if activated in different ways. And that is the way we look at all that is. It's a usable energy for this planet. As we've said before about the love energy. It's just plain energy until it goes into the physical construct and is expressed as love. So maybe this will help explain the all that is. Because energy in your little bubble is all that is. And what you do with it in a physical construct changes it into whatever you want it to be. Now does that help explain all that is?